Levi, we got into some really great stuff in the first half. The coolest part that your site, your platform solves is the biggest problem we see all the time, which is we have many people come to us. They want to invest in real estate, but there's the classic problem of, well, the bank said I have to have 20% down, or the bank said I have to have 25% cash up front, right? It's a cash problem. I always say we find deals all the time. There's just a cash problem. Your site is in the process or currently solving that. And I want to take people step by step, what it would look like for them to get an idea, or not an idea, an opportunity for real estate investment uploaded into your site. So walk us through what this looks like literally from when we come to your site. What do we do?
So actually getting something up there is really simple. You can do it in a couple of hours, but that doesn't mean it's going to be live. So you can list a property in what we call coming soon or test the waters and get it up there like within literally a couple of hours. So what you go to invown.com, go to seek financing, and then it'll take you through a process where you put in all the information about your deal up there. And literally, you send it in to us. And as long as we think it looks good, it can go live on the site, and it'll be what we call a coming soon listing. People will be able to then reserve investments in that deal. Now, they won't be able to send any money, but they can state their intention that they're going to invest in it. That would be step one. Now, if you want to do it that way, you could go. I was talking with a guy today, and he wants to go directly live. He doesn't want to have a coming soon offering. He wants to go directly live. That would then involve a number of other steps. And those steps include you have to form an LLC, and we help you with that. You have to create an LLC agreement. We'll help you with that. You have to create a subscription agreement. We'll help you with that. You have to get a EIN number. We'll help you with that as well. All these things are pretty straightforward. Mm-hmm. And then you also have to then create what's called an Edgar account with the SEC. That's also pretty straightforward, but it involves one particular twitch, is that you need to get this document. It's called a Form ID. You need to get it notarized. All right. Once you've got that notarized, upload it with the SEC. You get your numbers to create your Edgar account. You create your Edgar account. We work with you on this thing called a Form C. And as long as you got the Form C up there, you've created your page on our platform. Upload the Form C onto the SEC website. Then we create your escrow account that we were talking about before. And once you got the escrow account, we connect that to your offering, and we press a button, it goes live, and boom, people can invest in your platform. Now, all of that, you think, it's a number of steps, and if you come work with us, we'll simplify it for you, and we'll walk you through and hold your hands through every single step of the way. But it does take probably a couple of weeks, and you have to be engaged with the process. In other words, we won't do it for you. You have to be engaged with that process. It's not our offering, it's your offering. We're going to help you every step of the way. The other thing which we would do for the people who are looking for their first deal is we'll actually mentor you and help you finding that deal, the numbers, etc., all that stuff as well. That's the brand new offering I was talking about earlier, right? And if it's your first offering, we'll also give you, we'll incentivize you to kind of to really kind of find that offering. We'll ensure that it doesn't cost you a lot of money to do that. Those are the steps. I mean, I don't know if does that sound like a lot?
It was good to see how it all is going to work. I like that people know the steps. And I think there was an important designation you said there. There's two buckets here. There's really the testing the waters aspect of this, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, people that don't have a deal necessarily yet, but they have maybe an example of one. Because that makes sense. That makes sense that somebody would maybe want to see if they can raise the money and then be able to find a deal. It's not always common in a hot real estate market that you would be able to go and snag a deal, and then what happens if you don't raise the funds, So that's the first stage, is be testing the waters, which is people can reserve kind of a concept investment. Fair?
They could, although it could be a concept investment if they would like, but they're going to have to go out there to their friends and say, hey, reserve some money into it. If it's only a concept, it might be less likely that people will be willing to kind of reserve money into it.
That's fair. What's more common for your testing the waters designation, like where people they're just reserving a spot in the investment, not necessarily putting the funds towards?
So it's usually people already have a deal, which they're testing the waters on. But
gotcha.
It doesn't have to be. There's actually one which is there now, and she has some she has candidate properties which she's looking at, and so she has options on 2 or 3 different properties, and so and it's much more of a concept, and the money will be used to buy that land, but what she's selling is a concept. You can see it up there. It's a resort and a community for it's actually Black cultural resort and community which she's trying to build in Texas, and that's the concept she's selling. But the money will still be used to buy the land, but she wants to figure out how much she can raise before she knows which land she's going to buy. So if it's a concept, and you're selling your concept to a community and to your investors, then that could work a lot better if you don't actually have the deal yet. But if if it's a deal, people generally in real estate, people can look at the deal. What is the deal?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. And that makes sense. And that's where we were we had looked at the Invown site, the platform, and we were saying, hey, we have an example deal that's doing really well. What if we wanted to duplicate this style of investment? And that's where you and I had the conversation on, hey, maybe test the waters on what the funding could look like. And if it works well, if people understand it. And again, there's some presentation involved with that, which kind of going through the steps of your platform. Then you go into this second bucket, which is, hey, we've got the deal, we've got the address, we've got the statistics. Now we're going into starting our LLC, our operating agreement, and so on, like you mentioned.
Yeah. And I just want to point out that one of the things which stops a lot of people doing this is because generally, if you want to do all of this, you have to go to an SEC attorney, and they're going to charge you between $15,000 and $20,000 to put these documents together.
Yeah.
We're doing is we're going to just offer it as part of the deal, right? You do not actually have to go to an attorney at all in order to be able to do this on our platform.
That's huge. Again, lowering the bar of access for people, which is, again, your goal, your heart behind this. Yeah. What are the key components for people that have never raised money? What do people want to see? Because a lot of people do this as a hobby. Some people do this their own way. There's maybe not a bunch of statistics involved up front, but there's some certain things you want to show somebody that's going to invest in a deal. What are some of those components for the audience to know?
I think the most important thing investors want to know is that you're trustworthy. You're going to do what you say you're going to do. That is the most important. That's why your first deal is not going to be going out there to strangers. It's going to be to people who are your followers on TikTok, Instagram, people who know you, people who your reputation is going to be the most important thing for your first deal. People aren't going to throw money to you if you've done no real estate before and this is your first deal unless they trust you, right? So this isn't.
It's going to come from your sphere.
I don't want anyone to think this is free money, right?
That's a good way to put that. Yeah.
Yeah. If you've got a bad background and you're thinking this is a way in which you can, we'll weed you out, and just don't bother even to show up with us, because we're looking for people who sincerely want to get into this, want to make return for their investors and make money for themselves, some long-term passive income, not or even active income through real estate, and help others get passive income. We're not. This isn't for people who kind of think this is a quick way to
a bunch of random people are going to give me money. No, this is really an advertising platform for your own people to start and can grow from there. I like that clarification. Yeah. What about on the terms of, like, you've got to show a return. You've got to, talk through some of these, like, you've got to show what the equity split is. How are people, or how is that laid out?
Well, those are things that we'll have conversations with as you go through your offering, right? And we'll say, what do the numbers look like? What does it make sense to offer equity to investors? Returns to the investors. So you want to do a preferred return? Do you just want to do a split of profits? Those are conversations that we can actually walk you through and have conversations about to decide how you're going to structure your deal to investors. But I think, a lot of people, when they're going to invest in your deal, they're going to invest in your deal not just for the numbers, but because they want to help you succeed, and they also, trust you. Is key.
Yes. Going back to reputation, you're right about that. And then it can grow from there, right? For anybody that's never done this, it's not like, oh, I can't do it because I've never done it. The point of it is Levi and his team are going to walk you through how to showcase this. And this initial investment is going to be one you're texting the link to, you're messaging your Facebook platform on, you're emailing people that you've talked to about this before, that you've had coffee with, you've been talking to at a holiday party, people that are saying, I've always been. Now you're the boots on the ground making it happen. And like you said, how you want to showcase it. I've seen it done in a certain preferred return. I've seen it done with different equity splits. Every deal is different, right? Are those some of the key components that people are, I mean, when we're talking preferred return, what are you usually seeing on your site for some of these deals that have come through? Are you seeing like a range of preferred return, or is it too unique to generalize?
It's a range, but the thing is, preferred return for a lot of people, right? It's a confusing concept. What does that mean? You have to start explaining it. So I think if this is your first deal, don't go with preferred returns. Just go with the fact that go with the basic numbers and say, we're going to give you a, pro rata, or share of the profit. If you've bought 5% in this deal, you'll get 5% of the cash flow after you've taken all the expenses, obviously, of the property. And then when it sells, if there's a profit, you'll get this percentage of the profit. So we'll make it, I think, for your first deal, don't get fancy. Just make it really simple, really straightforward. This is what you're going to get from investors. And I think that's the best way to do it. Because or else you're going to confuse yourself with all these numbers.
That's a good point. I like that simplicity. Just get into it in an equity split standpoint. Now, that brings up a question for me, though, Levi. With fundraising and with general partner versus limited partner, which you're talking LP, GP.
Yeah.
What is a fair equity split? Because I've seen it where if you're not putting any money into this, let's just say you're a general partner and you raise the funds through investors.
Yeah.
You're the one that has access to this. You're the one that's going to make the gears turn on this investment. What would you say you're seeing for someone doing their first handful of deals like this that they're taking for equity for being the GP?
It's typically a 80-20 split.
Okay.
80% goes to investors and 20% to the GP. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen 70-30. I've seen typical 80-20. I've seen even up to 50-50. It kind of depends on the value you're providing to the group, of course. But I think it's important for people to know, because the cool part about this, for people getting started in real estate, say you have this network, say you come to Invown and you present a deal with Levi and his team, you could raise 100% of the funds and have 20% of the ownership if you were willing to take the active work and active role to make the investment happen. And that is an amazing entrance into this real estate investing world.
Yep.
Yes, down the road, as you leverage this investment and get capital, you're going to have 100% ownership in other investments. But think about this being a part of your toolkit from the beginning. I think of that when I started investing, if this was an opportunity. Just the ability to scale your real estate investing is such a cool thing, Levi.